The advice that you are getting and using is what is costing you jobs. Last month, I looked at exactly 42 resumes for a data engineering role. I called back 4 of them, not because the other 38 weren't skilled. It was because their resumes told me nothing that I needed to know. I've been in this room for 26 years. Here is the thing that most engineers just don't know. The filter hasn't changed. Your resume is not being evaluated by someone who wants to be impressed by your tool stack. It's being evaluated by someone trying to answer one question. Can this person solve a business problem, or are they going to cost me 3 months of onboarding and still need some handholding? That's the filter. That's the only filter, and the way that most data engineering resumes are written right now, they fail it in the first 10 seconds. I'm going to show you 3 specific patterns, 3 things that I see every single week that are sending qualified engineers straight to the junk pile. And I'm going to show you exactly what to write instead. Here's the reality. A line like this shows up on resume after resume. It's not one candidate. It's basically every resume that I read, and the tool names are just shuffled about. Proficient in Python, Spark, Databricks, dbt, Airflow, Kafka, Snowflake, and AWS. Quick question. What does that actually tell me? Nothing. Python plus whatever your stack's version of Spark, Databricks, or Snowflake is, that's the bare minimum just to walk in the door in 2026. Almost every candidate that I interview has at least that list. If your resume leads with it, you just told me that you're the exact same as everybody else in the stack. Here is what the same engineer should have written instead. Redesigned a batch ingestion pipeline in Databricks that reduced monthly cloud spend from $18,000 down to $4,200 by replacing a streaming architecture that was solving a problem that we didn't have. The tool is not the achievement. What you did with it, what decisions you made, what it cost before, and what it cost after is what gets you your callbacks. Here is the verdict. Your resume gets exactly 1 line for your tool stack. To be clear, keep that. Recruiters and ATS algorithms still keyword match on all those things. But that line only earns you your screening. It is never your whole resume. Everything below it needs to reflect business outcomes. You need to prove that you understand the concept of code to cache and can justify your compute costs. If you are early career thinking, I've never saved anyone $18,000, you don't need a dollar figure. You need a before and after snapshot. Job failure rates dropped from 12% to 2%. Manual QA time from 3 hours down to 20 minutes. Pipeline latency from 40 minutes to 6. Scale matches seniority. That format never changes. Now, open your resume right now. Count how many bullets start with a tool name versus a number and an actual result. That number is the diagnostic, and I'm willing to bet it's not one that you want to say out loud right now. Here is the pattern that I see consistently. An engineer builds a genuinely good Kafka pipeline with real-time ingestion, clean architecture, solid docs. The resume says, built a real-time data pipeline using Kafka and Spark streaming to ingest 10 million events per day. In the interview, I'm going to ask, what was that error rate? Pretty low. How did you handle schema drift? We had some issues with that. What did it cost to compute? Crickets. That resume told me the happy path. It told me what the system was supposed to do. It told me nothing, absolutely nothing about what the engineer does when things break. And things always break. I don't hire engineers to run systems that work perfectly. I hire engineers to respond correctly when systems fail. If your resume has 0 evidence that you've ever hit a failure, never caught a silent error, never made a cost trade-off, and never explained data quality to someone outside of engineering, I have no idea what I'm actually getting from. The takeaway is that every project needs at least 1 sentence about something that broke, what it cost, or what trade-off that you made. This is not a list of your failures. This is what engineering actually looks like. I implemented monitoring that caught a 12% data loss in a production pipeline before it surfaced in a quarterly review. That 1 line is worth 10 bullets about Kafka. If mistake 1 stung, mistake 3 is going to sting even more. It's the difference between a resume that gets a phone screen and one that actually gets an offer. Subscribe if you want the real filter, not that bootcamp version. Now, there is a question that I ask in almost every interview. Walk me through a time A stakeholder disagreed with your data. Most candidates, including people who talk about medallion architecture and DBT models all day long, pause. They start to fumble. They start to skip over their words because their entire career, as told on their resume, is technical execution. Move the data, build the pipeline, hit your deadlines. Here's a resume that I see constantly. It's technically flawless. It boasts a strong stack, lists well-scoped projects, but not one single line mentions a stakeholder pushing back, a disputed number, or a decision that had to survive a room full of people who don't read SQL. I don't call those back. Not because that engineer never had a moment. It is because the resume gives me no evidence that they ever did. I can't hire on that assumption. And I don't have the time to bring you in and interview you if your resume doesn't already reflect that. The fix is to show a moment that you held your ground, or maybe that you changed your mind on what data actually meant. And the gold nugget here is the data that you're willing to stand behind in a boardroom. So something that sounds a little bit like this. I push back on a stakeholder's proposed churn definition that would have overstated the number by 15% and got finance and product aligned on a shared metric before the dashboard ever dropped. That is an engineer who owns the room, not just the pipeline. That is what you put on your resume. So here's the framework, not the boot camp version, not the one that some resume master told you to do, the one that actually gets you your callbacks for being a data engineer. I call it the business case test. Every project bullet on your resume has to pass 3 questions before it earns the right to be there. Question 1. What was the problem? And what was it costing? Not there was a slow pipeline. How slow? How much per month? How many engineer hours going into babysitting it? Not how many engineers did it take to replace that light bulb? But the business was going to lose what exactly when the light bulb didn't get fixed? Question number 2. What did you do? And what trade-off did you make? Not the action, the actual decision. Why that architecture and not a different one? What you said no to? What it would have cost if you had done it the other way? Question number 3. What was the result in real numbers? You could swag these a little bit, but numbers, not just adjectives, not improved performance. Tell me from what to what? How many minutes? How many dollars? How many hours of manual reconciliation was eliminated? 3 questions, every bullet. That is your test before anything lands on your resume. And here is where it connects back. Question 1 is where most engineers failed right off the bat. Because instead of writing a business case, they write a grocery list. It's really generic. I don't know. Can't tell you how many times I've gotten resumes from coaching students, from different people that I see that are applying to jobs that I'm hiring for different companies, just generic bullets that don't mean anything. The engineer who leads with Spark, Kafka, Databricks, Airflow failed that business case test before the hiring manager even finished that first line. The engineer who writes, replace the streaming architecture with a daily batch process and cut cloud spend from 18K to 4.2K a month just passed it. Run every bullet through the test before you send that resume anywhere. 3 questions every time, non-negotiable. The market in 2026 is not selecting for the longest tool list. It's not selecting for the most certifications. It's selecting for the engineer who walks in the room and speaks business. Stop writing grocery lists and start writing business cases. Syntax gets you in the door. Strategy beats syntax every time. Next week, I'm going to walk you through the exact interview question that separates the engineers who got the offer from the engineers who didn't. Tell me about a time that data was wrong and nobody noticed for weeks. Go watch that one. If you are ready to start building resilient pipelines in Databricks, be sure to check out this playlist right now.